What's up, guys? After another disappointing finals loss, the Edmonton Oilers are back in the offseason trying to rebuild to build a cup winning team. Coming into the offseason with almost 12 million cap space, they do not have a lot of flexibility here on what they can do. And this honestly doesn't even include Trent Frederick and Evan Bouchard. Who they're both, well, Frederick, who they already paid, just hasn't registered on Puckpedia yet, 4 mil for 8 years. And then first thing we'll do here is we'll go and we'll pay Bouchard. But yeah, it's crazy that they made it as far as they did and just ended up losing again. I guess Florida really was just the better team. I mean, I think the two-way play of the Panthers is just too good for McDavid and Draisaitl to handle alone, because outside of those two, you don't really have a whole lot of anything really in that lineup. So when you shut down those two guys with Barkov and Reinhart, who are both Selke finalists, then what does that really leave Edmonton with? It leaves them with Trent Frederick, Adam Henrique, Max Jones, Janmark, Arvidsson, Podkolzin, Kasperi Kapanen. Like, it's not enough. To win in the Stanley Cup Finals, that is not even close to enough. And you ran into probably one of the best, like, offensive or defensively, one of the best defensive forward cores, probably one of the best in NHL history, realistically. And yeah, you got unlucky, I guess. But yeah, so diving into this roster here. So I locked up Bouchard 9 mil for 6 years. Some people say he's going to go for around 10 mil, which would be a Darnell Nurse overpaid 2.0. I mean, seriously, like, you do not want to do that. And then Trent Frederick, I mean, they overpaid the shit out of him too. 4 mil for 8 years. I mean, I really don't know what made Stan Bowman feel inclined to do that, but anyways, I'm gonna deal with the hand I'm dealt with here. We're gonna make this team a maybe cup winning team. We're gonna try and make a cup winning team, but we'll see. It depends what we can do here with the negative 1 million cap space we have. So obviously, we got to start here by clearing some cap space. Let's see. First guy I want to shed, we'll go Henrique. So this could be any team that really needs like a 3 or 4C. So that makes me think Minnesota. But we'll leave a note here. Let the people know what's up. And I think you get a fourth for him. We'll go back to the trade board here before doing anything else. Let's see. Who else would be a good trade chip? Vander Kane. Bang. What team's taking on cap dumps? Pittsburgh. So let's see. We'll do Vander Kane and a second for Noah Chari, who will help with the Oilers' bottom six. Retain, and will help with some PK too. Can submit the trade, and then bang, move Janmark here. Chari 4C. We have 6 million cap space now. And I still think you can clear a little bit more. So we'll trade Arvidsson. I think there's some teams that could take him, so I don't think you'd have to attach anything. There's probably some teams you could dump him to for just nothing, and they'd take him. So bang, we'll do that too. So I mean, defense is pretty much fully set here. You do have Brett Kulak playing on his offside, but I mean, if he's been doing that and it's been working out, then I'll leave it like that, I guess. But yeah, also we need to address the goaltending here. So 10 million cap space. Before I go diving into free agency, I want to acquire John Gibson. So then we have a better picture of what our cap situation's looking like here. So we'll do John Gibson, 50% retained, because I mean the Oilers do not really have the money for anything more than that, or anything less retention than that. So Calvin Pickard, a second and a third, And we'll throw in a little sweetener here. Unsigned prospect Nikita Yevseyev. He is 21-year-old defenseman playing in the KHL, 6th round pick in 2022. Nothing crazy, nothing outstanding, but you never know, right? So hopefully Anaheim's asking price isn't anything more than that. And yeah, so now let's see, that leaves us with $7.8 million in cap space to fill all these holes on this roster. So this is going to be a little bit of a piece of work here. We'll go ahead and make some of these moves. You know what? I'm going to bring Matt Savoy up. I think it's time, and I think he should be ready. Should be. Doesn't mean he is, but he should be. So we'll do this. Bang. So I think the first guy, looking at my board here, first guy who I want to go after in free agency, you just need wingers. It doesn't really matter what side. But first guy I want to go after is Anthony Beauvillier. He performs best when he's playing in a top 6 role with good players. That's where he was most successful with the Islanders. He then went to Nashville, Chicago, and Vancouver, where he didn't play good because he was on bad teams in a bad role, in a lower role. And then he was signed by Pittsburgh last year, put on the first line with Crosby for the bulk of his time there, played great, got traded to the Capitals, played on the first line there, played great. So he's a great supporting guy for a player like McDavid on the top line, especially for a cost-efficient cap hit. So we'll give him $275 million for. We'll go 3 years. We'll go 3 years here. Actually, depending on his age, let's see, 28. Yeah. We'll go 3 years, and we'll put him on McDavid's line. Like I said, he's good for supporting guys, and then it kind of balances out the talent too. So putting Nuge with Draisaitl, I think works well. So let's see. So let's go to UFA here. Next guy I want to bring in is Gustav Nyquist. A little bit of a veteran. He's a little older now, but he's 2 years removed from like a 70-point season, I believe. So I think bringing him in would be pretty useful. He's a right winger primarily. Let's see his point totals here. I mean, yeah, he had 75 points 2 years ago. A little bit of a down year compared to that last year, but still, I mean, I think he can bounce back, especially on a roster like the Oilers, playing alongside McDavid and or Draisaitl. So yeah, we'll sign him. We have 1.7 million cap space. Not a lot. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clear a little bit more cap space. Wrong team. I'm gonna trade Max Jones here. His cap hit's only at $1 million. I don't really need that much more money for this roster because it's just a lot of cheaper guys. So I think all you really need now is a third line right wing. You already have your 2 extras. You have an extra 7th defenseman and an extra forward, and David Tomasek who can play center and wing. If any injuries come up, I put Savoy in there. I don't fully know how ready he is, but I think at this point he should be close to ready. And he's also on an ELC, so I think you kind of need him to be ready for the Oilers because you kind of need a cost-efficient option to slot into your lineup. So with this remaining $275 million in cap space, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go for a right winger here. Go for a guy who just scored almost 20 goals, 19 goals, 26 points with the Ottawa Senators, Adam Gaudette. I think $2.5 million for 2 years is pretty fair. Put him right there on the third line with Savoy and Frederick. And Frederick can play center here if needed. I mean, see, Savoy's a righty, so he would be a right winger if he were to play wing. But then you can shift Gaudette up, Nyquist over, because Nyquist can play left and right wing. So either way, it all works out. There's a lot of positional flexibility with this roster. A lot of guys who can play center and wing. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of how you make your lines if you're Chris Knobloch. And this kind of just rounds out the team a little bit better. I mean, that top line's pretty good. McDavid doesn't need elite line mates to be elite. Like you can put him with Beauvillier and Hyman, and he'll still put up 130 plus points a year. So that's good. Second line's good. You have Nuge with Draisaitl and Nyquist there to help. Who, again, 2 years removed from 70-point season. So the potential in him is still there, even though he's 35. There's still potential to bring that back. Putting him on a line with a guy like Draisaitl. And then your third line, I mean, it's a good third line. I think you got grit with Frederick. You got some youth and some speed with Savoie and some playmaking, and you have some goal scoring with Gaudette. It's kind of a mix of a perfect third line. And then your fourth line, I mean, Achari gives you good PK, and Janmark and Podkolzin also, or Janmark at least is a penalty killer. I don't know about Podkolzin, but Podkolzin will offer you some depth scoring every now and then. If the lineup like this isn't working out, you move them up, just move them up in the lineup. And looking at the defense here, I mean, it's okay. It's pretty solid. Nothing too crazy, but you have Ekholm, who's going to be gone next year, but that's fine because you have Kulak, who you can re-sign, or another guy, and you'll have D pairings that look like this. Actually, since Wallman, it says LDRD here, we'll put him RD for this season at least. He's also up for extension. I think he's someone you extend now for the Oilers. You have next year $42 million cap space. Obviously, you have to re-sign McDavid though, so that'll take the most of your money. But outside of McDavid, I mean, there's no other huge pieces other than like Ekholm really that's going to expire. So I think you actually can go ahead and extend Wallman here. So looking at AFP Analytics extension projections, they have Wallman going at $6.5 million for 5 years. I don't really know if he's worth a full $6.5 million for 5 years. But I'm actually just going to give him the Ekholm deal. I'm going to give him $6 million for 4 years, which I think is pretty good. He's already 29, so you'll be paying him until he's 33. You don't really want to be paying him $6 million until he's much older than that, because you don't really know if he'll be able to keep up, his level of play all the way through that. So, and then once Ekholm's gone, you just slot Wallman in on the left side, and it'll work out, So you get better goaltending here too. So you'll have Gibson as your starter, and Skinner can be a tandem goalie. As a 1B, he's a lot better than as the solo starter. So even maybe a backup goalie here in this case. It just kind of depends on how Gibson plays. But yeah, so I think that's going to do it for this roster. Looking at this team, I think this kind of helps balance out the Oilers a little bit. I think this is a more well-rounded team too than the team they've been running with the last couple of years, and they've been able to make the finals with that anyways. So kind of rounding it out and strengthening your bottom six as well. I think that would be a good move for the Oilers. And look, these are all pretty like cost-efficient contracts, which is exactly what the Oilers kind of need. You can't really go big fish hunting in free agency here, and you don't really have a ton of assets to trade. I mean, let's see. Yeah, you're kind of lacking on draft picks, So if you're the Oilers, you don't really have the assets to make trades. So you got to find cost-efficient free agents, which I think is exactly what we did here. You have an extra $250K in cap space to spend. So hopefully I didn't underpay any of these guys if this roster were to come true, because then it wouldn't be able to with this cap space. So, but that's going to do it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave a comment down below on YouTube. Let me know what you think of the roster. I will also link the Puckpedia roster directly in the description, so you can go and leave a comment on the roster itself as well. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.